Vigilante Wednesday here with a very simple question. That is, how are the Denver Broncos going to do this year? I think decent. TLDR, 10 to 12 wins, 10 on the low end. They could lose, 9. They could be 9 games, 9 or 8 games. I don't see that, but it can happen. I mean, they did just sneak in the playoffs last year, but you would like to think they're going to get better. You like to think their quarterback, Bo Nix, rookie quarterback last year, is going to get better. Still had 29 touchdowns. Was amongst some of the better quarterbacks in the league as far as touchdowns. You have a team that had the number 3 scoring defense and the number 10 scoring offense, so that always bodes well when you're top 10 in offense and defense scoring. There's a lot of promise here in Denver, despite their evil-ass Lucifer horse and their evil-ass airport. Now, all that aside, where do you start? Well, you would like to start on this defense. This defense is incredible. Shout out to Patrick Surtain the second. I guess not junior. Not sure how that works. Defensive player of the year. He's the man. He is the man. He's one of the best players in the league. And I don't know what else needs to be said. He's one of the best players in the league. One of the best DBs, maybe the best DB in the league. And on top of that, you have Nick Bonito and Jonathan Cooper both giving you double-digit sacks. This team does a lot of things that I talk about when I talk. If there's a through line between teams that I think are going to do well, it's teams that turn the ball over and can do something on offense. They were number 7 in turnovers defensively and number 11 in not turning it over offensively. So, those are really good things. You got to control the ball. So, with this being said, and then you have a quarterback that you would like to think, that was his rookie year. That should be his floor. There's every reason to think they can win this division. That's why I said 10 to 12, 9 to 12. They have a lower floor than maybe some of the other teams in this division, but they can absolutely win the division. No doubt about it. I don't think they will. I'm still picking the Chargers. That may be a little bit of a, I don't know. I don't want to say not a homer pick by any means, but just a little bit of a spicy pick. I'm picking it kind of a hot take. Do I really believe the Chargers are going to win? Yeah, but part of me is just trying to get in just in case they do, because there's always surprises in the NFL season, right? And so you try to pick the surprises. You don't necessarily know if that's going to happen. I'm not like Nick Wright where he's just so for sure the Lions are not going to make the playoffs or some crazy shit. It's just no, it's not like that. Wouldn't shock me if the Chiefs still win the division, but it also wouldn't shock me if this team wins the division. It wouldn't shock me if the Broncos finally take that step up. Now, Sean Payton has had a rep with non-Drew Brees quarterbacks of not necessarily getting along. He didn't get along with Russell Wilson too good, and maybe he's having this Kobe and Shaq moment with Dwayne Wade. So Shaq kind of butted heads with Penny Hardaway, and he kind of butted heads, very much butted heads with Kobe Bryant. But then when he got to Dwayne Wade, it was like, well, I can't keep butting heads with all these guards. I have to get along with somebody if I want to win this championship. And you wonder if Sean Payton's did a similar thing with Bo Nix. Allegedly, Bo Nix didn't run his offense that much better than Russell Wilson, but they just, instead of trying to put a square peg through a round hole, they just let Bo Nix do Bo Nix. That's why he looked so bad the first half of the season. It looked so good that second half. I like Bo Nix. I think he can be a good quarterback. I think Cortland Sutton helps. Cortland Sutton's a good wide receiver, 1,000 yards, 81 catches, 8 touchdowns. That always helps. They don't really have much of a running game. Last year, Javonte Williams and Jaleel McLaughlin, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, kind of tag teamed the running situation. Bo Nix helped his own cause with 400 yards of his own. They just drafted a running back, R.J. Harvey, out of Central Florida. We'll see how he does. They drafted pretty well. It seems like they drafted a lot of strengths. They drafted another wide receiver. They drafted another DB. As I said, they had the best DB in the business in Patrick Surtain Jr. or the second. I'm going to mess that up. I'm sorry. Please don't beat me up. They drafted defensive end, and they already got 2 good pass rushers. So they drafted a lot of, they're stacking a lot of depth. if they get this running game situated, the sky's the limit. I'm not sure if RJ Harvey's the guy. Maybe you just between the three backs, and I hate to not know who's on the roster this year because guys leave all the time. If between it looks like Javonte's actually on the Cowboys now, so we'll see how that goes for him. And it looks like Jalil is still on the Broncos, so we see how that goes for him. Maybe between him and RJ Harvey, they can get something going. You're going to need more to your leading rusher getting 500 yards, and that's what happened last year. I mean, combined, him and McLaughlin basically went over 1,000, so it's not terrible. So we'll see how Harvey does as a rookie. I have not been paying attention to them in camp, so I don't know how good or bad he is. But if he can adjust to the NFL game, that will be the one weakness I see is their rushing offense. As a rushing defense, they're actually already top tier. Number 3 in yards, number 3 in touchdowns, number 2 in yards per attempt. They don't allow 4 yards a carry, which in this era is special. They're an impressive defense, not just as a rushing defense, as a passing defense, obviously. If you got that type of pass rush and those type of DBs, you're going to be good. Number 6 in allowing touchdowns. Number 8 in getting picks. Number 2 in yards per attempt. Just an impressive pass defense. Well, I guess their yardage, not the best, 19th, but as far as scoring, I mean, they're impressive. They're impressive. So, I mean, there's not much to say. This is a really good team. They're surrounded by other good teams, but they're a really good team. They're pretty much stacked. They're a running back away from being elite, and we'll see if they've actually drafted that running back. Now, let's get into the schedule, the infamous schedule. Out of the other AFC West teams, their schedule looks a little bit more manageable. I'm not sure if it's just the way it's organized or what. They start off with a lot of the AFC South teams. You got Tennessee, then you get the Colts, then you get the Chargers, then you get the Bengals. You can be 3-1 from that first stretch. Now, you can also be 2-2 because I think the Colts are going to be decent. I think even Tennessee might be a sleeper for some teams because they got a good defense. But you can start off this year 3-1. Then you get the Eagles. That's going to be tough. The Jets and the Giants back-to-back. It's going to be pretty. You would like to think that was pretty easy, even though I think the Giants and the Jets are going to be tough defenses to score on. Then you get the Cowboys. So you look at that first half of that schedule. You can mess around and be like 6-2, 5-3 that first 8 games. It's not impossible. Now, again, I think more of some of these teams than a lot of other people, but it's not impossible. Then it starts to heat up after that. You get the Texans, the Raiders, who I think is going to be good. I think they're going to give a lot of team fits, and it wouldn't surprise me if they split with the Broncos. And then you get the Chiefs, and then you get the Redskins / Commanders. A lot of people are predicting the Commanders, their former rookie quarterback, their rookie of the year quarterback, to have a drop-off this year. I'm not sure. He might. A lot of people think Bo Nix might have a drop-off and Jaden Daniels have a drop-off. We will see. We have film on them both. We will see. That's when the teams start to get a little tougher in November. Then you got December. You have the Raiders again, Green Bay, and then you have Jacksonville and Kansas City. First week of January, you have the Chargers. So their schedule stacks up to be pretty light early and then get tough as the season goes on. So they could be a team that stacks up a lot of wins and then stacks up a bunch of losses, or they could be a team that stacks up a lot of wins, gets that confidence, and they can split through that tough side of the schedule. They win their first 8 games and say 6-2, 5-3, and then they go 500 the rest of the year. They're in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see what type of team this is going to be. It's hard, a lot of times we judge everything by the quarterback. If you've been watching this series, I judge on the offense a little bit stronger than the defense. I don't go as in-depth on the defense as maybe other more talented YouTubers and analysts do. But this is a very, very good defense. Very good defense. and a very solid offense. There are, they could use another receiver. They drafted one. We'll see how he does. They definitely could use a star running back. They drafted one. We'll see how he does. So they are relying on the draft to fill in those holes. They have some, a schedule that's lined up for them to stack wins early and then kind of grind their way the rest of the season. We'll see what they do. A lot is going to be these in-division games. Like I said, I think the Raiders are going to be a tougher team than they are in most years. The Chiefs and the Chargers are both going to be Super Bowl contending teams, and the Broncos can be too. These teams got to face the Broncos too, as I say. So we'll see how they do against these tougher teams later in the schedule. That's really what's going to be the test. Again, I'm going back to 11 wins, 9, 10, 11, maybe 12. Could they win 12? That would take a step up. That would mean Bo Nix has taken a step up. The running back for sure is a 1,000-yard runner. You would need a lot of things to go right, but it's possible. Anything's possible in the NFL. I'm going with I want to say 10, but I'm gonna go with 11. I'm gonna be nice. We've been a little bit nicer than a lot of other people too. We'll give you the extra wins. So I'll go 11 wins for the Broncos. But what do you say? I finally got a video that's short. We can't keep doing 20-minute videos for everybody. We got to get these videos out before the season starts. All right, I'll talk to all you guys later. Peace.